In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto.
Question everything, trust nothing. It's a boy BlockchainCrusader here. We're back for another episode of Around the Charts, guys. We've got Magic Internet Money. Welcome him to the stage. We got Crypto Blood, and we got, last but not least, Crypto Lifer in the house. How's it going, guys? How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome. Thank you.
COVID-licious. I'm doing COVID-licious.
I appreciate all of you guys taking time to come on the show. It's been, I love these shows, TA Thursdays. Really, get a lot of different TA styles going on, but, a lot of the same price action, even though all these styles are very different. People like to see all the different styles, and it's very educational. So I appreciate it a lot. Appreciate all of you guys coming on here. So the topic of the night, right? It's the end of the year. Santa Rally was canceled. 2023, everybody's looking ahead. What to expect for 2023? A lot of people have, a grim outlook. But I've seen a thing, in the 12-month, the yearly candles, there has been no 2 years that have gone red. So maybe there's a little bit of hope there that there might be a green year looking ahead, right? But in the meantime, we're looking at the 10K, right? Everyone's looking at 10K like they've been looking at 100K, in my opinion. So 2023, in your guys' opinion, are we hitting that 10K first, or do you guys see some type of potential rally here in the beginning of the next year? And you can start off.
I heard someone say, and I normally agree with them, everyone's bearish, right? And typically because I'm a contrarian, that is a market signal. Magic knows it, Lifer knows it. Typically when everyone is a certain direction, there's an imbalance in the market and you're going to go the other direction, or at least that's where the most value, most bang for your trade is, right? Unfortunately, I think this time, people are grim, but they're not grim enough. They need to be grimmer, if that's a word. I'm making up a word, ladies and gentlemen. Grimmer. Okay.
So you're talking about like a 3K Bitcoin?
No, I don't think that low. Like 7, 8, 7-ish. You okay? A lot of people saying 12, 10, but I think we go maybe 7, 8.
What are you thinking, Lifer?
I mean, it's I never use my brain when I do this. Like, I mean, I use my TA brain, right? I'll look at the charts for you guys a little bit too. It just, I mean, I have to be honest. I'm a little flabbergasted because, I was Mr. I found the bottom. Like, I'm gonna be honest. And I had like 10 indicators that all told me that we had bottomed around that, that capitulation at 17.5 wick, right? And I had this 800-day. I was going by this one that was really cool because like no one else was using it. And a buddy of mine who was like in like Army reconnaissance, like figured it out. And he was like, look, 800-day moving average passes through the 50. That's your bottom, right? And that was back then in 2015, right? And so I just thought this was like so cool. And then again, the 800-day passed through the 50 here and we had our bottom. And I was like, man, this is uncanny. Now we have that weird wick action, but that was the pandemic kind of, black swan. And then again, we had it pass there. And it was like the third time in a row on a macro scale. It coincided with the pi cycle bottom. You guys probably know the pi cycle. I know I'm not the only one. I think I've even seen you look at it, Crusader. I may be wrong, but so this told me, and then by the time you pass through the 200, you usually were at the bottom. This is kind of we're in some like different. I'll be honest, we're some different territory. Bitcoin's like doing some different things. One thing that I was trying to save face with is the fact that the total market cap hasn't revisited its previous high like Bitcoin has. Like when I went to the weekly and I looked at the total, see, there's the high of the total market cap, 752. We're right there. We didn't revisit the top like Bitcoin has already. So that's like hopium for anyone that wants to think, oh, like there's a chance that like we don't go lower, but like we lose this level. Look how fast we went up. Everyone knows as fast as you go up, that it's almost not fun to go up fast. Us traders like Crypto Blood, you guys, we don't like going up fast. We like making steps, retesting, building, because when you go up this fast, you dump that fast. Like we all see it. We've all seen it. There's no level, there's no ladder to keep us in check. So like we break this level. I get goosebumps right talking, but like, I mean, that's $379 billion in the market cap. Like we're losing a fat chunk. And like, I just TA wise, I'm really basic guy. A lot of times I've shorted like that. I mean, and you're below the 200 SMA on every single time frame. To me, it's all about this 4 hour. Like every time we got above the 200 SMA, that's the beginning of bull markets. Like every bull market in any history of any asset in the world, it starts other smaller time frames, but the one I really care about, you'll get a few candles closing on the 4 hour above the 200 SMA, and then things will begin to build. And that's like, and I'm not saying it's the beginning of that every time that happens, it's a bull market, but every bull market starts with that happening. I go with this metaphor where if it rains one drop, it doesn't mean it's the beginning of a rainstorm, but every big rainstorm starts with a few raindrops, right? So it doesn't mean it's the biggest thing every time, but that's how it starts if it is going to be the biggest thing. So you have to heed it as a trader every time you close candles above the 200 SMA on the 4 hour. And I get a little giddy, but then I tell my group, like, and honestly, lately, from this in the last 2 years, I formed like a really easy way to, swing trade. You get a 4 hour candle closing above the 200 SMA, open a long, hold it for a couple days. Look, boom, win that one. You get a 4 hour candle close below the 200 SMA, open a short. Look at that, won that one. Every time you get a 4 hour candle to close above the 200 SMA, open in the direction that it closed above. Dude, you're not going to always, your stop loss, you may get close. It's not going to be easy to hang on. But if you do this over and over again, I've seen it play out. Look, open the long there. Yeah, the candle probably closed there. You're second. If you wanted to wait for 2, you're still winning that short. You're winning this long, and you don't know how big they're going to be. Trail your stop loss and lock in profits each time. And sometimes you get more than enough. And again, I stay bearish if you can't get above it. And right now we're below it. That's a bear flag. Today on my channel, I was saying the same thing. I have to remain bearish. This also looks like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder to me. I'm bearish, man. If Bitcoin can't get back above 16.8, it's going lower. Like, and to me, this is a bear flag right here. Like, right? I mean, like, that's a flag. That's nasty. Like, just if we just primitively look at that, and that's taking us down $700 billion, which, you guys can, someone else can jump in and do like the Bitcoin math if you want, because I don't want to hog up the whole thing. But I see Bitcoin, I mean, how we don't go down to 13, 14.8 on capitulation. And usually I'm the guy saying, oh, no, buy it all up right now. It's the lows. And I'm even thinking, I see technological wise, I see lower lows happening. The weekly looks great, but there could be more downside. It could be rolling over here. I don't.
So what do you think is that capitulation? What do you think is that capitulation? Because people have been talking about it. They talk about the miners capitulating, but what is it really? We saw FTX blow up, right? We saw the Terra Luna thing blow up. It dropped us a lot. We saw FTX blow up. We dropped a lot less on FTX.
You know what it is? I think I know a lot, but I think I don't know as much as I don't think I know enough. And I think
no, that's great. That's when you're if you think you know everything, you're gonna make.
But I think
the
billionaires have assets that we don't know about. I think they have places to lock funds in that we don't know about, like dark pools. I don't know what they're, ETFs on gold. I don't know what they're doing, but they seem to have a place to put this money, because I've watched the market cap and I'm wondering, where did $300 billion go? Like, where did it go? Like, and I can't see the dollar go up. I can't see, I can't look at the other markets. The stock's down. I'm trying to find out where that liquidity is going, and I don't know. So,
well, one thing I will say,
your question to me, Crusader, is like, where is the liquidity coming from? Like, who's selling? If we're already if all of us have capitulated to zero, then where is this liquidity going to come from? I think these market makers still have
been sideways. It's been a dead market. I'm not making any money. Having in about 2 weeks now. Last 2 weeks have been in the red for me.
I got lucky. I found those high coins, and we've been trading those HI coins on KuCoin, and we had 500% gains, 300% gains. I mean, you put 1,000. One girl in my group, she put $9. It's in October 2nd, and it's $660. She did a 60x. I can't believe it. She showed her trade today. I fell on the floor. I was like, yo, how did she do that? Like,
I had a member take $100 to 1,000 a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know where he is now with things. I told him, hey, take the money and scale down your sizes. I hope he did, so that the market doesn't take all that back. You know how the markets work, guys. I mean, that market tries to take every single dollar back. You know it.
Yep.
Every time. It's the weirdest thing. It's like we live in a freaking matrix.
It's a simulation,
so
bro. I'm telling you, it's a
simulation. It feels like it knows your exact balance, man. We've all
exactly.
Been all talking to the
crazy.
Same
crazy.
Magic, what are you seeing, man? What are you seeing for 2023, right? Are you seeing some type of rally before 10K? Or are you seeing 10K or even less than 10K being the first target that we're headed to?
I've got a pretty specific setup for 10K. I think we front run it. I don't think we actually hit it right off the bat. I think we rip out of that probably it's close to 100% if that occasion does occur. So I'd be looking more like 12 to 13 in that instance personally. I would be looking at that point probably just to your prior year average, which is going to come in somewhere between $24,000 and $26,000 in that scenario. It could be even a little higher than that. And then I'd play the game again. It's a very similar setup that I gave when we went to 32 and I said we're going back to 47. That's the same exact play. It's just a mean reversion play on a much higher time frame. And that one took about 4 months. This one could take easily just as long. And then I think that we make new lows towards the second quarter of next year, and then maybe even in the third and fourth quarter. I think that you've got a pretty bad setup in markets where they're going to continue to raise rates. And so traditionally markets don't actually bottom until they actually pivot. And the reason being for that is because when rates are not topped out yet, it's because they look at the labor market and it's still really strong. Like, okay, the economy's strong. We got to slow this thing down. So they just keep doing it. And then by the time they pivot, the economy's no longer strong. So then the cascade actually happens because there's nothing there to fall back on. And unless they're going to turn that money printer back on, and even if they do in most cases, it's still going to capitulate from there. So to me, the most pain, and I've been saying this, is sideways and down. Everyone's getting excited about every little pump, just like 17.5. He was just talking about it. I'll be upfront with you. I actually was one of the people that was telling people don't believe 17.5 is a low. There were several reasons why. When you made 17.5 as a low, it was on a weekend and CME was closed. You have not put in a major low when CME has been closed on a weekend since it's been created. Also, it was a weak low, meaning that if you classified it from an order flow standpoint, it wasn't good. You had an 80+% chance you're going to take that low. So we knew whether it was by a wick or whether it was going to be a big dump, that we were likely to at least revisit the area and challenge it. And the same can be said about the current lows that we have. And I'll pull up my chart real quick and put it really, really simple and basic for you guys, at least as far as I go.
That's how we like it. Simple and basic.
So we're projecting for trend right now. And so we're going to use a tool that, most people are probably familiar with. They just don't, use it that often. So trend-based Fibonacci tool, you're just going from your last range high to the low back to this range high, right? Because we just need to see where the trend is going.
3 points.
Get that magnet on there just right. And we're just going to move this on over. And what you'll notice is you've hit your gold pocket, okay? If you break through these lows, which these are already poor lows, meaning that there's really not much there to defend it, your next target is going to be somewhere in this 10K region. Now, for me personally, my setup for this is in my fund folder, which, this could just get blown out of the water. And the timing on this is kind of, questionable. But I've been looking for this since we broke down from here, basically on the 7th, looking for sometime maybe even in the first few weeks of the year, if we're going to get a move like this and it's going to be symmetrical. If it's not symmetrical, which this being an overblown pattern because it's a deep crab, you get really far extensions. It can be a bit obtuse is what I'll word it as, where the timing on this C to D can be pretty far out. But I'd be looking for a move into here, and then I want to see that retrace back up. And how you're going to use these again is you take the X pivot and the B pivot here. You're just establishing where's my old range and resistance. There you go. So you're just looking along this back up to here, and then you can project out your yearly pivot for the final year. And you can see it's coming in all the way up here. So when does that become reality? Well, only in the situation like this does it arise. Do you have this, trade setup? And so you could then be looking at like 13,880, that prior wick, which isn't available on, it is available on Bybit right here, as like an SFP level, get back above it. And then you're looking along this up to X, B. And then if it gets any higher than that, you're just targeting your swing highs. And you haven't done anything bullish yet. So we're making lower highs. If price does get back above like this high right here, especially C, this C pivot up around like 21 and some change, this box, that is going to be like, even if you miss this whole move, you've still got this move to the high side. So when we're talking about a rally, it's not necessarily important that we predict the rally and when it's going to happen. It's just that we're prepared for the pivots in the market when they occur. So we know when to start getting long again. Like I don't use EMAs or moving averages like Lifer does, but very similar. We're looking at similar styles of trading in that I'm using horizontal pivots in that case for me that I identify through market structure, right? So very same strategy. Get above this level. What are we looking to do? We're looking to long it. With him, he said, we don't know how long we're going to long it. It could be a while. We're just going to trail our stop. That's an effective strategy. For me, I'm looking level to level, like 20K is a big area, 19,150, obviously. Then you're looking up to these areas and so forth and so forth. So to me, I think
quick question.
Yeah.
How long can you go sideways on this structure before the structure becomes invalidated for the lower end? For like the
I actually think that you can take this. Well, so when you measure these, what you're looking for is symmetry most of the time. A really good harmonic is going to have good symmetry. You're looking for the 1-to-1 right here. And you can see I've got it kind of split out a little bit. So you can see this is the 1-to-1. Let's get rid of everything else on here. It's just too much noise.
By the way, guys, smash the likes. And if you guys aren't following Crypto Lifer, Magic and Air Money, or Blood, the links are down below. Make sure you follow these guys coming on here every single Thursday for Around the Charts, bringing you the best TA out there. Appreciate all the love, guys. Make sure you guys show them the love as well. Go ahead.
So
go ahead,
for
Mike.
something like this, you can see this is the one-to-one. It's the beginning of my box, and I've kind of stretched it out a little bit. And a lot of times that's because what I'll do is I then want to see how symmetrical is this move right here from X to A over to C, meaning I just want to see, is it a similar move? And it is. You give that one-to-one here, and I'll kind of give it a little more room. I would say that this could probably stretch out to almost the 2, which is not, I don't like saying that, but it can. I've seen it happen, come all the way out to like something like this. I don't like this as much, though. I think at this point, if you went that far and dumped down, you would probably be looking at a much
extended.
Yeah, you're gonna get that capitulation he's talking about. But if I was looking to trap people, like I think it was Blood was like, we're not bearish enough. This is the we're not bearish and we're too bearish. I think if we got down to this level, people would be like, it's going to 7K, it's going to 6K right now, it's going to 3K, whatever it may be. And then from there, you're only playing this if you get the reclaim of the level and you've got a really nice, effective long and stop loss, right? And then you're just looking to take this as, a back up to like range low. That's 13%, back up to the pivot, 27. If you can get any higher than that, it's all just kind of, I would say, gravy at that point. But
Magic, what's that D line?
12,
What price is that?
Coordinates on that is 12,481. The box is set up for Fibonacci convergence between 12,481 and 12,846.50.
Okay, that's interesting. That's going to line up with my chart too. Which is
good, man. I always like to hear that, because if you look left, then you take that, and this is all kind of happenstance. But you start looking at what you're getting here, and there you go. So if we're going to get a rally, we can cover the low time frames. We covered 16.8. I 100% agree. That's a really, really big level. To me, I think that you got to go a little bit to the higher time frame, and I'll get rid of some of these. I call them relevant levels, but we'll get rid of those and the patented caveman level. So out on a weekly, what you have here locally, and this is what I've been trading in the group, was I was looking for essentially just a breaker setup right here, because you've got a really nice one. So keep it really easy and simple. And you can see how range bound we've been. Just these 2 levels. Go down to an hourly now. And these are the 2 levels that you're wedged between. And this has been the level that I've said, if we lose 16,611 on a material closing basis, like close a daily below it, confirm a daily below it, or like a weekly, I think that you're heading back down to this target right here. This was a setup we traded on the FOMC day. This is your shark that played out really nicely. Nice swing failure pattern up here of D or of X. You would be looking at the next target of that, which does come in at the 886, right here, which is all the way down at 15,772. And then you have a nice daily level there at like 15,744. So you get a little confluence. The problem is if you get that low, I just don't see these lows holding, whether that's by a wick basis or a closure below, and you get that deeper correction we've been talking about.
Yeah, so we don't have a much left. We don't have enough left capitulation previously. So it's like, that's all we have is this chunk. We come back there, we hit it. And then you have guys like, I also like, it's funny. I trade sometimes complex and simple, right? Like, I don't know about you too, because you made me shut up. I loved your TA. I love listening to you. I could tell someone who's like completely
Magic. If we're pros, Magic is at the All-Star game.
Yeah, he's deep. like
he made the All-Star game.
We come from the same group, ironically. Me and Lifer do, a long time ago. Back in like 2018, a little CDC action.
Oh yeah, so you were maybe we were like, dude, that's crazy. So we're both soldiers of the same
reunited.
Yeah. The dude's a warrior. He creates warriors, man. Like, the dude creates freaking warriors, bro. He's my buddy for life, man. Fucking love that dude.
I haven't talked to Chris in a long time. He's a good dude, though. He's a really good dude.
I DM him once in a while. He's always like, yo, Sam, like, you're one of my greatest success stories in life, bro. He's like, I tell everyone about you, man. He's like, you did it. He's like, he would call me, what's up with your channel? And I'd be like, I don't know if I could ever be consistent. I want to hang out with my friends. I want to travel. I was like, what do you mean? I needed a mentor, man. We all need a mentor, someone to push you, like I needed an older man I can listen to and believe in. I told him a lot of times, I said, you taught me TA. I said, but you taught me lifestyle. I said, you taught me how to be consistent. You taught me how to change my life. Like, man, look at this is something I found. I remember I just drew this. I remember back in the day. I think I was on ATB and I called like a 7K Bitcoin, and people laughed at me. They were like, this guy's out of his mind. Like, and I remember actually someone sent me a clip of like 2 people talking about me, and they're like, you see this lifer guy? He said 7,000. And like, this is when we were somewhere around here. And like, I just do basic TA. And I swear to God, like just basic TA ends up playing out. Like sometimes you don't remember the basic TA you did like months ago. And then you're looking and you're like, oh my God, that flag really did hit its capitulation, you know, like, and you know, now you're looking at another bear flag, right? What flabbergasted me, like, I want to talk about something that like I'm a divergence guy. And like, I'll be honest, 90% of the times when I've trusted divergence, I've hit a trade hard. I called the top for Bitcoin here based off this divergence on the weekly chart. Like it was just, you know, you saw the up there and the down on the RSI. And to me, that's like, that was just so obvious that wasn't going to continue, like, because that's bearish divergence. And then I found bullish divergence back here. This is, I long Bitcoin and I bought one at 19,200, you know, and the reason why I bought one was because the dollar index had topped and I've been studying it the whole time. And I'd seen the dollar index topping because that had extremely bearish index on the 2-week chart. And then I had never seen weekly divergence, like bullish divergence. So I was like, when I saw this capitulation, it really took me by surprise, because the last time I saw weekly divergence was like 2015. Like it had, so I'm still wondering if this weekly divergence is enough right here to possibly, you know, and I'm candidly, I get right with these divergences. So to me, I was just like, so now I'm under the camp that like, wow, we might go, you know, we could go anywhere. Like, and I always stay open-minded. I tell myself I know nothing, but the fact of my own ignorance, and Bitcoin could go anywhere. You know, I have to tell myself it could go to 1,800, and I have to be okay with that. Like those, and I have to be okay with it going to 100K. Like I'm open-minded to any place it can go. And I just let each daily level tell me where the next level can take it. So like, I'm like, you know, I love watching your TA because you just like you made me shut up and just listen. And I was like, man, this guy's giving me another insight. And like, you make me want to start drawing some harmonics and some what Bartleys. You guys draw what they go, Gartleys or Bartleys. You guys,
yeah, there's all kinds of them. I'll be honest with you. A lot of the stuff that I do is stuff that I kind of like. I picked up some harmonic stuff, but like the way I trade them and the tools that I use with them, same with volume profile and timing. It's stuff that I've kind of come up with. And
yeah, like I wouldn't trade, no offense, like I wouldn't trade your style because I'm so deep in my style. You probably wouldn't trade my style because you're so deep in your style.
Exactly.
You know? For me to leave my style and learn someone else's would get me to miss a bunch of trades because I'm in the pocket, like where I'm in.
Yeah, it's all about what works for someone. We've talked about this before, that if you have a successful strategy, it doesn't matter how you're making money in this market. You're doing better than most people. If that's the case, just keep doing that. You know, doesn't mean you can't get better and learn something new. It just means if you have consistency and profits coming in, don't fuck it up. You know, like let it keep going. You know, it'd be all right. You can practice other things on the side.
Dude, that's 100%. You got to do what works for you, right? You can't be jumping around. You got to stay consistent to something that works for you and find a style that works for you. But Blood, I saw you were mentioning something earlier about your chart. What are you seeing in your chart with the Blood Analytics?
I see Mr. 17.5. Bring that up. Mr. 17.5. Yeah, I called that a while ago. And it was, I was joking, but I wasn't. I was being honest about that level and us bouncing off of there. And sure enough, we did. Now, what the level that to me lines up with what Magic is saying here. I'm just going to scroll over. All I use, guys, you guys are way more advanced in your strategies than I am. I'm more advanced in the actual if you want to call it programming aspect, right? I do a lot of automated trading, so that's a lot of complexity, but it comes out, the end result is something very simple for people to follow. But as far as my TA, it's literally support and resistance and some trend lines. That's it.
Real. You only needed one trend line to trade the stock market this year. Let's be real.
right. So the line that lines up with Magic's area is that 12,600 range. Okay, and I have Mr. Elmo down there for us. He's waiting. And I have Elmo down there. Okay,
the devil's basement.
The devil's basement. Because let me tell you something. Too. If we break this region, you know, Magic is give or take a few $100. We break that area, boy, Lucifer is taking us. That's all I gotta say. so I'm hoping that is the area we bounce off of. But again, we see how bearish people are speaking. a lot of people are that way. So again, my philosophy is I think we are going that direction. Maybe we're not bearish enough. So maybe we do break this 12-6. And it goes back to what Magic talked about, and it's centered around the fundamentals, the macro fundamentals in TradFi. I'm not seeing, it's asymmetrical at this point. I can't see any good news that would trump just a little bad news. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't see any piece of good news in crypto that would trump just a little bad news. I'm talking about big news and good big news in crypto trumping just a little bad news.
It's all negative.
The risk is to the low. It's to the lower points in my opinion. So
I got a good question here from the chat.
To want to put all their money in Bitcoin, right? And then like they're about to go down, the fiat currency, like we're printing too much, like they're done. And like
gonna happen.
But it would have happened by now, you know. It's like, what are they doing? You know, it's like
it's a slow bleed. It's a slow bleed of the dollar. I mean, the government.
But again, I just want to say this though. You do have to be prepared for, and this is something that Magic knows this, Lifer knows this. Your biggest rallies to the upside are in bear markets. So you may see these violent rips still as we head lower. But you will see an actual tide shift, I think, when, as Magic stated, the Fed pivots and they say, I can't do this any longer. That's when you'll see the next move up.
I don't see how they couldn't go till February before they have to start printing again, turn on the money print.
Okay.
I don't think
you think they're gonna start printing by February?
I just don't like.
Well, okay, so they've got two
and inflation has already started to drop. I mean, inflation has there's a chance inflation has topped out.
Yeah,
I mean,
but Lifer, you've got two programs running with the Fed. You've got quantitative tightening, okay, and then you've got interest rate hikes. There's two programs that they're running right now. A lot of people don't realize that the QT started last month.
Yeah, they started selling all the things that they bought and dumping on us.
Well, the two purposes of the Fed are to control employment, essentially, and inflation. Inflation's getting under control, right? But they do want 2% because we live in an inflationary economy. Obviously, we need that. We don't need deflation. But the issue with that is you have a strong economy. So you still have people, jobs reports that are coming in strong, things like that. That creates inflation still and will keep inflation from coming down to the levels they want, because it basically, let's say that you have a company.
They need less jobs. Yeah, they need less jobs. They need unemployment, which sucks.
Well, the reason is though, you have the great retirement or whatever they're calling it now, where people went to work from home, but companies are trying to hire and pay more. So if they're paying people more that will work, right, and more people are going out and getting jobs, companies can still sell them products at higher prices, and they're willing to pay it because they have more money. Now, that won't last forever if inflation happens, and that's the cat they have to put back in the bag, so to speak. So there's your dilemma. You're trying to balance the two. And I think that they're going to break it before they pivot. And then the economy is not as strong as it once was because they've been spending so much time trying to get a handle on that to help with inflation. They can't fall back on it. And I think at that point, that's when you get your break.
All right, guys, I'll volunteer as tribute. I'll leave the workforce and start bringing down the unemployment. Just kidding. People at my work watch the show. I'm just kidding. I'm not.
You just eat a little more potato chips and sit on the couch more, man.
We got a good question in the chat that I want to address. First, I want to say, hey guys, smash the likes if you haven't. Hit the subscribe. Make sure you're going and following all these guys on here. Their links are down below. Join Danger Close Alpha if you have not joined Danger Close Alpha Discord, which is the link is down below. We're the first and ever prepper survivalist NFT project with a real life utility that could save your life, and somebody right now could win 5 ETH real soon when our mint is done here in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, 5 whole ETH. So someone's gonna be taking 5 ETH home from our mint. So make sure you guys get involved. But the question is from Crypto Billy, and shout out to him, says, out of 50 trades, how many do you lose? Understandable that losses are big or small, but what is your ratio? So you guys are all trading. What is your win to lose ratio? Give or take.
I mean, it depends on the market. Like right now, I'm trading 4 or 5 trades a month, like very small, right? And like it depends. Honestly, I've lost 30 out of 50 trades. You know what I mean? The way my strategy works, I really can lose. I only really need to win 3 out of 10 of my trades to be profitable in the long term. You know what I mean? Because if I just cut off and make a trade, I've won 22 trades straight in the row. That's the most I've ever won in a row in my whole life. 22 straight. I remember it. It started with the XRP pump that last fall when XRP started pumping. And I even beat myself up. Like I sold a lot of things early, you know, honestly, like I can get a really good win rate and sell early a lot, like take 5 to 8, 10 and 12. And then I go for bigger ones and like then make, you know, 60 or 40, you know? So it really depends. My last 50 trades right now, if I look at my thing, which have all been obliterated because I got hacked by freaking, I was in the API hack by 3 commas.
Oh, with 3 commas?
And they just went through all my trades and just sold them all. So like all my trades are tons of them. Some of them I was in a win. Some of them were I was waiting to resell for a loss anyway. So it blew through mine. So right now it says I have like freaking just a bunch of freaking, you know, they took me down. But you know, I'd say of my last 50 trades, I won about like 24 of them, you know, and
Nice.
but it's and it's all about focus, you know. Like there's times where I'm just far more focused and really into it. I'm writing down everything I'm doing and I'm hanging in there. And then there's times where I'm opening up 8 trades and I have a little more too many trades open. So it depends on my focus. It depends on how many trades I'm in at one point, you know. But yeah.
So if you want to bring, this is why I love quantitative trading, because it's black and white, you know. So for me, Crusader, if we take a look, I mean, I can do a full analysis, but as we have it right now, since what is that? June, end of June. We're talking about for Bitcoin, my trades about 50%. I'm about 50% of my trades are right. For Ethereum, it's about 58% of my trades, and for Binance, it's 55% of my trades have been correct. And you can be below 50 and still have a profitable system. That's the
50 is like amazing. Like,
You just have to have
yeah, people they fail to realize that you can be wrong more than you're right and still have a great strategy. It's just about if the wins you have outstrip and are bigger than your losses, right? Because it's just it's a win-loss ratio that we're talking about here. So you want to definitely have a win-loss ratio. Well, you don't have to have a win-loss ratio, I should say, that's above 50. It can be less than 50 and you still have a profitable system. You got to manage your losses. You have to manage your losses and keep your losses small and let the wins rip.
One thing beginners, you say you get into something, it goes up, you're at $100. It loses 10%, you're at 90. You need to make 11% now to get back to ground zero, right? It goes to 80, you now need to make 25% to get back to ground zero because you make 20 to 80. Every time you lose 10%, you need to make substantially more to get back. You lose 50%, you now need to lose 100% to get back to zero because you need to double the 50, right? You lose 90%, you now need to make 1,000%. So cut your losses off. Like once you get to 15, 18, 21, like it's time to cut that trade off, in my humble opinion.
I think that's a mistake that a lot of people do too. And then they start like forcing trades to try to get back, right? They start looking at like the whole casino thing, right? Where you're playing
revenge trading is
blackjack, right? You're like, well, if I'm down, I just double up and I double up, and eventually I'm gonna make it back. But that doesn't work out. You eventually get liquidated and you run out of cash before you can make all your money back.
Yeah, trading's interesting. So Mark Douglas wrote a book, Trading in the Zone. And basically it says that you don't really know if a trade's going to be successful going into it. You have no way of knowing which trades are going to be successful and which ones aren't. And that's something you have to remember. It's a lot like sports betting, like professional sports bettors out there. They are looking for things like he was just talking about. You can win 40% of your bets or 40% of your trades in this case, because they're the same thing if you think about it that way in terms of math, as long as you have a plus 200 in terms of the reward, right? So meaning that you need to receive 2 to 1 and get your original investment back. And you can win 40% of your trades and still make an overall 20% profit of your, we'll call it capital out of the 10 trade set, right? So you can do fairly well if you stick to that system.
And there's a metrics called Sharpe ratio as well. Yeah. That if you look into that, guys, figure out if you can get a Sharpe ratio that's above what do you say, Magic? 1.5?
Yeah.
Or somewhere.
I don't do a lot of, I don't do any like sports betting or anything, but I just know of the system because I found it interesting because there's when I ran a different group before this back in like 2020, there was a guy that was really great and he came from gambling. He came from card poker playing. And I was like, man, this guy's coming along. It's because he understood risk management out the gate, which is what most people don't. So you can only control how much you're going to lose in a trade. You can't control the outcome of it. The only thing
Matthew makes it.
So what that man just said, say that again, yo. Say that again. That's like
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It's one of those things that once you hear it and you actually understand it, it's like, you know, that it really does drive home. And it doesn't take too much to really drive that home if you've ever had a big loss, which we all did. Like I've told my story. Everyone that when they start trading probably loses money. I would say 99%. There's probably that 1% phenom out there, but I lost 60% of my entire net worth, not just like my capital. I kept putting money into the casino. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm not going to figure this out. And then it came down to, okay, I actually have to have a system or this market's going to keep taking my money until I don't have any, you know?
Yep.
So there will be months like I had my best month ever trading this year. I won 47 out of 50 trades. That was a good one. I've also, the very next month, I lost 7 out of the first 20 trades I took. I lost more trades in the first 20, and I'm a high frequency trader. Sometimes I'll take 7 trades in a day if they're there, because I don't trade off of like the minute chart. Sometimes I'll go on the order flow. I'll turn on the 5 mil volume chart. And if we have volatility, I'm going to get all kinds of trades. I'm going to get like 10 trades in a day. So, you know, it just depends. Some months I have more trades than others. For the year, I'm going to round out somewhere north of 75%, give or take. It's not bad, but it's a
shout out to Matthew Turnbull. He makes a good point, because there are 2 different ratios you can look at if you're tracking it from like I do. I'm a quant trader. The Sortino ratio is even better. He's right. If you can bring my chart up, my screen up really quickly, Crusader, I can show you the Sortino and Sharp ratio for my Bitcoin versus USD. As you can see, the Sortino is 3.5, so that's very good with our system with bloodalytics.com. So he's right though. Sortino can be even better. It just depends on how you want to track it, because volatility.
He's in my group. He does algorithm trading. I've been trading.
Oh,
with Matt.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He came up with his own strategy in order flow, where he was trading the Delta chart and has his own strategy. It had like an 88% hit rate. It was crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. So like he's really one of the guys in there that excelled pretty quickly. Pretty smart kid. But yeah, I mean, trading, it just comes down to it doesn't come down to time. It comes down to if you can control yourself to make sure that if you lose a trade, it's no different than any other loss. Like losses shouldn't hurt. Like we don't want to admit that.
No, they shouldn't.
Yeah, it's just okay. Boom,
no, the pros, they don't hurt. That's the thing. That's one of the characteristics, guys. If you're watching, you want to get very good at this. You got to take the emotions out of it. Losing is, I call it paying taxes. You got to pay your rent when trading, and how you pay your rent is your losses.
100%.
You got to pay your rent.
Yeah, everybody's gonna lose. So nobody wins all their trades. It's not a thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I've been stopped out of trades and then turned around and taken the exact same trade like a couple minutes later, gotten this, you know, another entry, and you might win that trade, you know, and you're 1 for 2 and you end up making a little bit of money. You just maybe didn't get the entry you should have, and the stop loss you should have the first time. But you don't know if it's gonna, you know, reverse and give you the trade that you want. You can't just sit there and write it out and be like, God, I hope I don't get liquidated, especially if you're trading with leverage. You know, like when I see people trading with leverage on altcoins, it kind of makes me cringe, because like, I mean, you really have to have good risk management. Those things don't have to move much, you know. That's why I predominantly stick to Bitcoin. But you know, there's, even with spot buying, there's risk. You know, there's people that are holding onto coins. Like I'm sure there's some Solana bros that are like, there's no way this thing's going to zero, and they bought it like $200. You know, like there's going to be someone out there like that.
Here we go.
He's like,
someone willing to hold longer than you.
Yeah, if you've been around for a cycle or two, you've seen it, and it's always altcoins. Not always, but a lot of times it is, because they fall in love with the tech. They get sold a story, they get sold the fundamentals, and then they're like, oh, okay, there's no way this thing's going to go down, and it's not how it works.
Are you referring to Windows 95? That's what I call Solana.
Yeah,
Solana is Windows 95, ladies and gentlemen, of the blockchain world. Okay, put the disk in and watch it crash.
Dude, I like to call it the McDonald's ice cream machine of the blockchain. I mean, that thing is always shutting down. It's never available. It's never working. But talking about altcoins, dude, you guys want to cover Ethereum, or do you guys have certain altcoins you want to talk about? I know you guys talked about BNB. What do you guys want to cover? What is more exciting for you guys right now?
Well, can I? I was going to show something about risk, and then I can kind of
go ahead.
And head us into. I've been trading these high coins. People make fun of me because I find money wherever the market is. I'm not bashful. Like I've seen people look at me like, I won't trade that. That has no liquidity, or blah blah blah. You know, and fine. I'll just, you know, if I like to trade $10,000 positions, I'll trade $1,000 position. I don't care. And so about 2 or 3 weeks ago, what I do is I have a system that just tells me when things are highly likely to play out. Right. And I back tested it and played with it. And it tends to keep doing it, So like the last few, like this is up 1,200%, right? And I first found it at 007. It wasn't even a penny when I found it in October. And so, and what you can see, I just kept trading it. Like I found this flag, that popped. I found that flag. We consolidated here. It was actually a shoulder, a head and a shoulder. And I always see a reason why something played out. So I've been playing these little coins, these altcoins, these high coins. And what they are is they're fractional NFTs, fractional reserves of NFTs. I believe it's Fracton Protocol is the coin that, or the whole project. So they're saying, okay, you can't afford a high board 8 yacht club. Well, you can buy a fractional reserve of one. And what's funny is if you're a good enough trader, you could trade enough of this that you could almost maybe afford your own after if you trade through it. And I just wanted to add, I love this long tool. It's really good for beginners. You grab it here on TradingView, and even, I don't see a lot of people use it, and I was never even taught how to use it. I just found it and started playing with it. But like this position, for me, I don't take a trade unless it's a 3-to-1. Personally, I see other traders take 2-to-1s. I don't take 2-to-1s. I only take a 3-to-1 or better. That's like my main rule. If it's not a 3-to-1 or better, I don't take the trade. So I set up my support and resistance. I set up my measured move, which uncannily I hit like a lot, and I use it wick to wick. See that wick to there, and I've back tested all these different ways of how to take the measured move and why certain ways work and why they don't. But look, so this would give you 133. The point of the story is, say you traded this 10 times. And I could even bring it to the 3-to-1 if we wanted to. Like we could raise the stop loss a little lower. So you trade it 10 times, you lose it 7 times. You lose 7 times 43, right? 7 times 4, 280. The other 3 is 21. You're at 301%, right? But you win 3 times. You're winning 399%, right? Because you win in 133 times 3. You win more than you lose, and you only won the trade 3 out of 10 times. And like when beginners first see this, they just because they think all of us are guys who are winning 90% of our trades, And to me, that's just not, for me, it's not the case. I tend to find big wins. I tend to play a lot of smaller altcoins or just, and I do trade a lot too. Like I'll trade, if the market, and I'll trade whatever the market gives me, but that's just a cool ratio. And just to talk about altcoins, I've been looking at these fractional reserve NFT coins. They've been pumping for like the last 3 weeks to a month and a half on and off. And there's like 10 of them. So you just put this by alphabetical order. And honestly, almost every day we've been finding a gain over 80, 50, 100, 500%. Like it's been crazy. High doodles, high cool cats. Like the list goes on and on. Let me find the list here. I just get excited talking about it because I love seeing gains in a bear market. And I didn't think this was possible. I own a trading, I run a trading group. The market starts to get down. My mind starts to think, well, how do I keep the trading group alive? Like what happens? And I pray a lot, and I believe an opportunity comes to those who work every day. And I just keep showing up. And lo and behold, these coins came out of nowhere. And lo and behold, people are making, Heinz and 4. It's ENS4, ENS3, which is Ethereum name service. You got ODBS, OD. Like I hit this one with this ODBS. This one hit. Like we had it in here. It pumped. I'm looking at this channel too. It's starting to consolidate again. And what's funny is they just keep consolidating. And the next thing they're hitting out of a flag again when the moving averages get tight. Just the same system that I use over and over again. High squiggle was earlier today. It gave it back, but it went up like 50, 60% earlier today. So I've just been watching these little crazy little coins. And I trade Bitcoin like magic internet money too, randomly. Like I'll short and long Bitcoin. I don't like to short and long anything else because the volatility. So, and I only trade 3L and 3S tokens. I don't really go that much bigger on my leverage.
That's smart though. It is. People should stay away from that as much as possible.
And I don't push it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that great at high leverage. It's not, it gets my emotions. I'm not good at 10X. It never really worked for me. And also when I was good at it, one time I did it 36 hours. I turned $100 into $700, but I was at my computer all day. Like every move got my heart. Like I learned I could have been researching coins or doing something different. So for me, it just wasn't where I wanted, but then I see people in my trading group, they love the 1 minute. Like they take what I teach them. And so I learned everyone does what fits them. You know what I mean?
You get burned out scalping.
Making trading into a high
intensity. It burned me out.
You're gonna get burned out. Yeah, I've been burned out scalping. It'll work. You can just. I got scalping strategy. I can sit there and turn, like you said, I could turn $1,000 to $10,000 in a couple of days scalping. But then I'm gonna turn around and lose it all because my mental is gone. I'm fried. There's an egg in there. This is your brain on drugs. Remember that commercial from the 90s?
High intense trading.
I'm like known, what people know me for.
High intensity trading.
I found Phantom at 21 cents and I rode it all the way. I found EGLD at $20. Like I found Cardano, I got in at 8 cents. Like I'm good at finding projects fundamentally that I believe are going to break through. You know, I mean, that's like my forte, like, you know, and I can hold Bitcoin for freaking 10 years, you know, like I'm ready to hold it. So
is there an altcoin that anybody here wants to cover? If not, we can wrap up the show. It's been a great stream, but I know you guys mentioned BNB. Do you guys want to jump into that, or is there any other altcoin you guys want to cover?
I'd like to see MMI, Magic Internet Money, show me some BNB action, man. See what he thinks.
I don't know that I've touched a BNB chart in months. Let me take a look.
That'd be awesome.
We're going to see his magic from scratch.
So it's not actually a scratch chart. I made this, like I said, I'll make a chart that's like, I don't know, 6 months old and then just come back to it usually.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible, but
historical magic.
Yeah. So, oh man, that's not it. Where is it? I may have to do one from scratch. I was using ATAS, which is with a different program on Binance before, and I think I deleted that chart. So,
guys,
yeah,
smash the likes if you haven't.
We'll do Binance
Make sure
USDT.
You guys go follow these guys. Go ahead, Magic.
Yeah, so we'll just go over to Binance. So yeah, when it comes to something like this, it's a blank chart. I really don't have much on here. Like I don't even know where this chart came from. So all these tools are kind of completely new to me at this point. So I have not looked at this. Now I know what I am. This is like an old chart. I can tell by the colors. This thing's like years old, before the bull run even. So I don't trade BNB.
I did. I changed my trend lines to yellow and from yellow.
Yeah, I can always tell how old the chart is.
I did this chart like 3 years ago. It's still got white, you know, yellow trend lines.
Yeah. So first thing I like to do is I always go to the yearly. I know that's kind of sounds obnoxious, but I want to know where my yearly open is and if there's been like a swing failure pattern of it. So I usually mark everything out. I'm not going to go through and actually change everything, but I will with the colors because it helps me. Yeah, we'll do another one here. So you're just marking out where price is reversed essentially in what has been support and resistance. And from there, I just roll through the time frames just initially, right? So I just want to get an idea of general market structure, see what's going on here, and then also kind of start making my verdict. Now, I already know what my verdict on this one is because I've looked at it through order flow, and that I know that this is a giant single print. So essentially, I'm looking all the way down to here regardless, somewhere in the sub $100 range, obviously. It's just a matter of will we see that? And it's in my Discord. I know that chart because I posted it for someone back in the summer. Because it's just basically staring over a cliff, if I recall. I usually let CVO handle all the altcoins. And I just do Bitcoin and traditional markets, SPX, things like that. But yeah, no, this looks honestly not doing a whole lot of work. It doesn't look great. I'm going to find that because I don't have time to pull it up on here. But just a second. I know I've got that chart. And that's going to
So I can bring up mine while Magic gets all set up.
Let me find this.
Yeah.
I want to show this.
So mine will be simple and easy. You're just gonna see a buy or sell signal. Okay, this is that simple. Right now, as of 2 days ago, we were long Binance.
And this is your Bloodalytics, correct?
This is Bloodalytics, right?
Okay.
So we've been kind of in a very tight range. Not as I told you earlier, we're actually at the beginning of the stream. Haven't been making a lot of money the last 2 weeks because we haven't had a lot of momentum, a lot of volatility. So 2 weeks ago or three weeks ago, we had a big move down, as you guys can see here over the weekend on the December 11th. I mean, we went short and took that all the way down here. That was literally a 13% short on that move with whatever leverage you got. So, but as of right now, don't take this with a grain of salt because we could switch at any point. But right now we are long and we're I would say about 1.5% in the money on this trade, this spot trade, but nothing special on my end.
Where are you? I'm going through the rabbit hole here.
Very rare I'm with people as nerdy as me, so this has been a really nice stream.
If I don't find it, I'm gonna have to remake it and I'll make a video on it. I'll put it on YouTube. You can find it there because I dude, it takes me like 20-30 minutes to work up like a fresh chart. I'm one of those people.
No worries. That's fine.
I like to go through everything from volume to everything, but I know I have a chart on this.
Do you have anything on BNB, Lifer?
Yeah, I'll just whip up. I'll show you what I do live, just like what I do. Like I'll give you. I like what he's doing because I'm very similar to him. It's kind of cool. So just I'll share my screen. So number one, BNB follows. Number one, I follow the total market cap, as you guys saw me drawing, right? And so BNB is a large cap, so it's going to follow the total market cap. So right off the bat, I already have like a leading hint of what I believe will happen. And if I'm bearish on Bitcoin, right, as you can say, I didn't, and you can see the exact same pattern, right? So like him, I like to go to like a weekly. I've never been to a yearly, but I recently put in the yearly chart because I do a monthly candle close. I do a weekly candle close every Sunday night. In case anyone wants to hang out on Sunday at 8 p.m., I'm every single Sunday night. I do a weekly candle close, and I do a monthly candle close every month too. This Saturday, thank God, I don't have to do 32 streams this month or whatever, because every once in a while my monthly candle closes on the same day as the night stream. So, because when it's not, I do my daily stream and then I do the monthly close at night, and it's 2 streams that day. Exhausting, but I still want to do it, right? But so I was looking at the 50. I didn't find a monthly chart. I didn't know. Well, the 1 month. There's a 1 month. The yearly chart. Like I went down to here and I couldn't find 1 year, right? It wasn't here. So I just did 52 weeks. Right? Maybe there is a year chart. Maybe you guys could show me, but so I did a 52-week chart, like it was yesterday. I never look at it. It's funny. I just started looking at it 2 days ago. So it's funny. Now you bring it up. Now it's going to be something I might implement. And that's why I love hanging out with other traders. Cause like I always grab or look at something. So the first thing I look at is like a weekly chart. I don't go as high as that. And, I look at my weekly lows. I might draw a Fibonacci on that weekly. Take a look at what levels we're at. I see that we bounced up to 706. This is like a kind of a secret fib that I was taught by institutional traders that tends to hit a lot. You'll see us fall through the point golden pocket and you'll bounce off the 706. Like you did it right there. It coincides again a lot with the 200 SMA. I find that uncannily a bounce area all the time. So I see that, and then I see what's my structure. Okay, I got a falling wedge, but I'm at the top of the wedge and it's likely we could head lower. Right. Weekly is super oversold, but it doesn't mean it can't. That's usually when it begins the low and it kind of hangs out down here, in general on the weekly. So not huge signs. And then I usually jump to the daily or the 3-day chart and take a look. And again, like I like what Blood said, because I do all this support or resistance, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, Fibonacci, pattern trading. But at the end of the day, I'm huge on support and resistance. Like, a lot of times in my trading group, you'll hear me say, like, if BNB can't get back above 300, like, expect more downside. Like when we were here, and they faked it, braked it out. So now I keep going, and now I got a new level of resistance that we clearly have made. Like we can't get back above 254. Like that's a problem. And then I look for a new pattern that's going to give me the percentage of probability, and like that's a continuation. That's a symmetrical triangle. That's 50-50. And even though they're 50-50 bilateral patterns, in my lifetime, I see them break down more often than break up. I don't like chubby triangles, like personally, So to me, that has a measured move to the downside. And then and I'm huge on stochastics RSI. Like if I were to pick one indicator and use only one, I would use just the stochastics RSI and support and resistance. And I'm telling you how and I also use volume with price action. And so look, you see the volume you see price action.
What settings do you use on the stochastic? Or do you
raw,
use default
raw.
settings?
All my settings are raw. Like I don't change them. Like I keep them the way they've been given. You can, and I've learned you can change anything to any setting you want. Your brain will become the setting. If you use it for 7 years straight, you'll know what that setting means. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I got so deep into this stuff. Like I isolated myself from all humans. It's pretty bad, but like pandemic. And I spent literally 8 to 10 hours, 16 sometimes. And this is all I did. And like, I was isolated from family and friends. My wife's father died. Like they had ripped our lives apart, and I just dove into something that I loved. And like, I kind of came out with something, right. That I could share with the world. And so I see, right now, if I had to, you're not getting above previous highs, you're overbought on the stochastic. I see BNB likely headed down, probably back to the bottom of this trend line, somewhere at 78, and it's funny. He already had the $100 area picked out and he was almost like confident it would probably revisit it in a way. He wasn't guaranteeing it, but in his mind, we lose a key area. It's likely we head back down, So again, we could double bottom here at 74. The way my system works is I wait till I get to another area and then I reassess the situation, So, but it definitely looks like BNB is coming back down to 176 area in my opinion,
176, you said?
Yeah, that's what it looks like,
So I got a chart for you for 176. So I just went ahead and did this up real quick on ATAS. This is a little different charting software. So it's free for crypto, ironically, but you use this for like order flow in traditional markets as well. But this is going to give you a TPO, a time price opportunity valuation, along with volume profile at the same time. But what I'm really looking for are single prints here. And so you can see the TPO value area low right now coming in is about $214. So if you start losing and breaking down from there, 176.20 is the closure of a single print here. However, these are all basically one giant single print until right here around $130 down to 118 probably. And
what
then
is a
after that,
single print for a guy that doesn't know? Like, I think I know, but I want to hear like you.
It's essentially an inefficiency. So the way it's defined, or at least it's defined many different ways. The way I define it is, so when you get like a breakout to the upside or downside, there's always that giant candle, whether it's red or green, right?
Yep.
Essentially, when the last buyer or seller capitulates, there's no more resistance for price to move through, right? It creates a single print, meaning that there's nothing there essentially. And so you can quantify that here, and it'll give you exact figures rather than just looking at the candle and going, we're going to fill this candle back. You can actually come in here and the computer will tell you where it fills. It'll tell you where that last buyer or seller was. And so in this case, the last buyer was at set 176.2. And then when you get them that are this close to each other on a move that looks like this, though, more than likely, I think over time, you'll see, what is that, 148.6, and then maybe even to this high volume node. But realistically, if you were to break down from here, I don't think it's all at once. Of course, I think there's going to be some hiccups like right in this region where you can start putting in a range. But I mean, you could be looking all the way down sub $100 to like this $76 region. And it's not out of the question when you look at the chart either. When you start looking at this thing, it's not looking good, man. It's like this. It looks pretty bad. You're sitting on your macro gold pocket right now as well. It's like, geez, you start losing this thing. It's like 214 level. You can see there's really nothing below you there. And so then it comes back to the basics of just like looking at the chart and going, okay, I've got all the, the advanced tools that tell me I'm correct. I've got the levels marked out. None of these stop losses were taken the entire way up. So this is inefficient price action at its core, all the way down potentially into this area and be back testing these highs potentially. So we talked about 76. It could realistically come down even lower. So I'm not one that's going to be buying BNB in this area unless it's like a day trade. Obviously, I think Blood was talking about how they might do day trades and that's different. He's got a system that's giving him that call and he's going to take it and he's going to take profits and get out of the market. But if you're buying this to like hold on for dear life or hodl or whatever, I just don't think this is the area. It's not the area of value. You know what I mean? So I would be patient with it. But if it does that, you've got to think what's going on in the space and going on with Binance. What's going to be the trigger? I think that ultimately the price is always going to go there. It's just there's usually a news catalyst. I think it's in the charts. Right. It's just and how often do we talk about this? Where we give the level, we give the scenario, and then it takes some Sam Bankman-Fried news or something like that comes out here like, oh, it's only because of the news. TA doesn't work. I'm like, well, I mean, like I feel like price was going there. This may have just accelerated or jump started the process for us.
You want to hear my really weird explanation for it? Is we are psychic future. We're attached to like the ethereal space and time. And so our reactions, we kind of know what's going to happen, even though we don't know it. So through trading, we create the future, right? And so the charts actually tell us what is going to happen. Like, and then the news shows up because it all like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
how many times have you seen that in markets? Like literally you see the pattern and then the news finishes the pattern.
Elon Musk, remember it was it was in a wedge, it was going to pump, then he bought it, and Bitcoin pumped because he bought it. Bitcoin dumped because it hit a resistance. It was just crazy to me. Like I've literally sat with my team and been like, based on my probabilities, Bitcoin. I've asked people, they said you're about 80 to 98. I've asked people just on the live, they said you're about 80% accurate on Bitcoin, and I'll be like, listen, this is likely where it's going to go based on my years of looking at this. And the next day the news comes out and it dumps, and I'm like, remember yesterday we said the same thing, like. But
they don't want to give you credit, man.
But you can't say that Jerome Powell doesn't freaking flip that thing like a freaking pancake, though.
Yeah. There's reasons people don't trade those news events with Powell.
I don't trade them. I personally tell my whole team to stay out. When you said recently, like we trade, I was like, man, he got balls. I was like, I don't trade.
That was a setup I already had in play, and it was really simple. And so I did take it. Now I'm not in that short anymore. I'm short from much, much higher. So I've been holding a short for almost a year. So as I put it to people, is I'm not willing to open up new short positions for the long term in this region of the chart. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're extended in the trade you made already. Yeah.
If you can take money out of the market, do it. I would be willing to hold along if I
saw the right long. What would you give the cojones not to just would you take profits now, or are you going to really try to see if you can get more out of this one?
So it's a hedge.
Okay,
so it's different. Yeah, so it's a hedge with the 6% fill on the back end for me though, where it's 15% total of my capital. I only need 9% of it to hedge, and the other 6% is actually going to be profit. So right now it's up 15x. So I've essentially doubled my net worth on the trade. But here's the thing. If I take profits now and Bitcoin goes to 3K, that just goes out the fucking window. So for me, it's important for me to continue to hold this until I'm forced to close it. And that means if I close it and I only make, 500-700%,
you want to make back
trade,
on what you're losing on your
yeah, if I only, let's say I only make 35% instead of doubling my portfolio, right? I only make 30. That's a huge gain. That's an entire year's worth of trading in one shot. And that's a really good year in reality, if you're doubling that amount of money. So the way I look at it is it's more of a protection thing, because you have to make sure that you're protecting yourself from the market, because you don't know what's going to happen. None of us do. And this is one of those times where, do I think this time is different? I don't know. We have no way of telling, but I can tell you that I don't want to be in a position where I'm at the mercy of it having to be the same as always, where, the 4-year cycle type thing. Like, I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to wait for the market to tell me to close it. When the market does, I'll close it. It'll be in profit. I'll be happy with that. I won't be greedy, and we're good to go.
Yeah. So once you feel safe about your long-term holdings, you'll get out where you feel.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able, and you'll have capital for the run, because that's the good thing about being in a long-term. When you're on the right side of the trade, that's what the beauty about being on the right side of the trade is. You get out, like when you're right when it's shorts, you take your short, and then and then you see the divergence on the 1 hour, and it's like, now you have capital to go to trade right. When you trade wrong, it's like you trade wrong, and then you trade wrong again, and then you're just like, oh my god, and that's why
you gotta take off and put on
yeah. It's been interesting. This has been the most successful trade I've had in terms of overall long-term swing. So it's been an experience though, because man, when we got to 25K, we bounced 30% back to 32K, and then you get down to 17.5, it bounces to 25. And this is why I don't think the bottom is in a lot of times, because look how bullish people get over these bounces. I mean, the bottom has been in how many times.
They have to be crushed, right? We have to have complete max
So
pain.
I just don't feel that yet. So it's been tough to hold it though. There's been times I wanted to close it and just, all right.
No, it can't be. It's never easy, man. I can see you at dinner oh God, 35.
I stopped checking the price eventually. I did. So now I'm not even logged into that account on a phone. And that's my biggest account by far. Because I don't want to sit there and look at it,
You got to just let it play out, man. You're not letting you're separating your emotions from the logic that you already determined, and that's some things you have to do as a human being, because you're human, it's kind of that's a great lesson right there in and of itself,
Yeah,
guys, it's been a great conversation having all of you guys on here. I think this has been one of the longest around the charts that we've done in quite a bit of time. So I greatly appreciate every single one of you. If you guys haven't smashed the likes, if you guys are not subscribed,
and blood never stops talking.
Yeah, you can't rush greatness. That's true, man. That's true. We got a great panel here. If you guys have not gone and subscribed to Magic, to Crypto Blood, to Lifer, I don't know what you guys are doing. These guys are amazing at what they do, and clearly the proof is in the pudding, right? They're talking about their trades. They've talked about their different styles, and if you're looking to get into trading, well, here's a whole panel, different styles, different things going on. Find what's best for you and works for you. So make sure you go out there, show these guys some love, subscribe to them if you haven't already. Any final we close out the show?
Yeah, I learned so much from Magic Internet Money. Check them out. I learned so much from Crypto Blood. I learned a lot tonight, so I don't know how everyone else watching didn't. So I'm blessed to be around such awesome people that care about their craft so much and are passionate about what they do. So thank you, man. This has been awesome.
Awesome having you on, Lifer. First time on the show. Great experience. Blood, Magic, final words.
And if you got my screen really quickly, just go over bloodx.com, check it out, guys. I do have a discount for all my DCA members. So it's DCA, and as you guys can sense, starting on August 15th, there's your high versus blood, and you see the delta, big delta.
Can everybody see it?
No, I see black. Oh,
there it goes.
Okay.
There we go.
I thought it was just me. Okay, now I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, auto versus blood. There you go, guys. Big delta again, and I also have a 40% off lifetime membership that ends on this whole lifetime after the New Year's, bro. Appreciate it. It's been real. Always great being on Magic and Lifer. That's my guy.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Magic, close us out, man. What you got for the people?
Always a good time with
I was gonna say, nice to meet Lifer. I think it's the first time we've ever actually, met on a live stream or anything like that, or really interacted in that way. Blood, always a pleasure with Blood. So it's one of those things where I see him on here all the time for good reason. And thank you for having me. And yeah, guys, as I always tell you guys, make sure you got a plan if you're going to participate in this market. Doesn't matter if you're just DCAing or whatever it is, write it down, do your research, and make sure you're comfortable with it at the end of the day. And that's all you can really do. And we'll see you guys next week, every Thursday.
Dude, 100%. So guys, question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. See you guys.
Peace.